How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and for the fourth and final part of my TeamSport tour of Yorkshire. If you've not seen the previous three, I will put them up in the corner just here, and I will also put them in the description box down below for you to check out if you want to. But we are here now at TeamSport in Sheffield. It doesn't look too busy, the car park's not full, but I'm sure on track it is fully booked. But we'll see when we get out there. I am hoping for a bit of a cleaner race than TeamSport Bradford, and fingers crossed we don't have any dickheads on track like there was with him. But we're going to go get signed in, get changed, and go check this track out. Here we go then, the final track layout of the TeamSport tour of Yorkshire. So Sheffield, unbeknown to me, has technically three layouts. The one that you see on screen now, which was called the Le Mans layout. Then they've got a downstairs layout that sort of intertwines between this one. I don't know what that was called. And then they can combine the two of them. So this is effectively only a half length layout, but it is a ridiculously fun one. I can't exactly put my finger on what made it so fun. I think it's just a layout that suits my driving style, so I felt quite comfortable, and it is just a layout I genuinely enjoyed. And the grip levels, again, just like Lee's, were really good because half of this is wood, and the concrete that you do encounter downstairs is just as grippy, really. The key to this track for me, I found, was making sure that you get good exits out of all of the hairpins, because the one at the bottom down here leads you then flat out up a ramp to the hairpin just after the start finish line, and again that hairpin leads you up a little hill to another hairpin, and then the final hairpin flat out all the way until you get back downstairs. So yeah, for me the key was making sure you just nail those exits. But that'll do for my brief little track walkthrough. Obviously, I'm no expert. This is my first time there, so I'm sure there's other guys out there that can talk you through a lap around here better than I can. But it worked out pretty well for me. I managed to set a decent time, but I will show you that a bit later on in the video if you stick around. So now let's get in the car and head out on track. This first 15 minutes then started out quite well for me, because for some reason it was under green flag, so I got probably nearly 2 laps going flat out instead of having to do the old Tokyo Drift tyre warming until they did the obligatory yellow and red flag tests. So with them out of the way, let's just jump straight into it, going down into turn 1, the first hairpin, which I felt was probably the main overtaking spot on the lap. This track is surprisingly difficult to overtake, so I was just kind of gauging what's going to happen down there, which when there's a train of cars, not a lot. And then following it round a few corners later, downstairs is where I felt the strongest, going into the turn after the hill, and then the hairpins just being able to keep that back end under control. At the start of this video then, I said exits were key around this track, and here is prime example. The guys up in front all run a narrow line coming out of the left-hander running up the ramp, and by the time we get down to turn 1, I've managed to get by 3 of them. Fast forward a lap or 2, and like I said, this track is hard to overtake, and the guy in front of me is case and point. Drifting his way around the corners, it just makes it so hard for you to manage to get around the outside, around the inside when he's pointing sideways. But his drifting eventually becomes his undoing downstairs, and I managed to get myself by. And then if we stick with it, you will see how much a little bit of fighting around this track will cost you time, on how much I gain on the back of these guys up in front. There you go, 4 or 5 second gap gone in about 4 or 5 corners. Goes to show how much time can be gained if the guys in front of you are battling it out. And if we carry on with it, I go for a textbook overtake down into turn 1. I think the guy next to me broke a little bit too early, but I got by nice and easily, nice and cleanly. Over a few laps then, I eventually catch up with the group in front, and then you'll see I've got the chap to the side of me that I'm trying to overtake, but then I come up behind the guy in front of me, no way around, so I allow the guy next to me to make the gap, and I just follow him straight on through. And the last couple of bits then, before I show you my fastest lap of this first 15-minute session, and they are where I felt I was strongest all day, which was downstairs. As you can see from the chap in front, there's about a 4 or 5 kart length gap going downstairs, and by the time we're heading back up the ramp each time, it's down to less than half a kart length, and that's all within the space of a couple of corners. A replay then of my fastest lap of this session. I set a 32.003, which was quick enough for P2 in this first 15 minutes. The guy in P1, Ethan, the young lad, he set a 31.358. I came off feeling pretty good, and then I seen his time, 6.5 tenths off. I had no idea where on earth I was going to find him, but you'll see in this next race, me and Ethan had quite a good battle going on between us. But yeah, watch this one over, and then I will join you again for the next 15 minutes. Okay, here we go, the final 15 minutes of my TeamSport tour of Yorkshire. I know, it's sad times, but all good things must come to an end, and this was certainly a good thing. This 15 minutes was great fun. It was me and a young lad behind me, Ethan. We were battling for most of it, to be fair, putting in some really good laps and fighting our way through traffic, but my first bit of on-track action was this overtake down the inside onto turn 1, and then a better exit on the exit of turn 1 to get past 2 guys in one corner. So that was quite fun, and we've got Ethan right behind us, and I managed to keep him behind me for 2 laps. It was a bit of a fail really, but I tried my best. But now he's in front, we can hopefully put in some hot laps, and I can try and learn a few things from him to see where he was gaining such a massive amount of time on me in the first 15. So yeah, that was slightly frustrating, but I got my head down, concentrated, putting some good laps, and about 2 or 3 laps later I finally catch up to the back of Ethan again. So either I was driving really well or he was slowing down. At the time I felt he was slowing down for me, to be honest. Remember in the first 15 minutes when I said that I felt like my biggest strength was this braking point after the ramp downstairs? Well, here's the proof, because Ethan obviously was a hell of a lot quicker than I was in the first session, but here I am gaining an absolute ton on him in that braking zone, so I was definitely doing something right down there. Here's another case of all good things must come to an end. Me and Ethan hot lapping comes to an end, because look at all those karts in front of us. In the shot right now I'm counting, I think including myself, 10, which on a track that is actually really hard to overtake, this was going to be a right old battle, and it was great fun though. So I'm going to let these few laps play out. I'll warn you now, it's pretty messy, it's pretty scrappy. There is bumping, but obviously nothing intentional. Yeah, so just enjoy them. So how was that then? For me, that was a lot of fun. Not a lot really happened in the session after that, I'm afraid. It was just more of me and Ethan just going around lapping. I did eventually get back in front of Ethan, but I couldn't pull away, he couldn't overtake. So that is probably going to about do it really. I'm now going to cut to my fastest lap of this one, which was a 31.280. So I managed to improve my time by no end. Ethan sadly actually went a little bit slower in this one. He went about 0.3 slower, so that put me P1 for the session and just 0.6 off a top 10 time around this circuit since the app began, and it actually left me 6th for the week, just half a second off P1. So for my first time, I was really happy. Now I'll just let this lap play out, and then at the end we'll cut to my final outro in the car. There we go then, TeamSport Sheffield done. 3 tracks, 1 day. I'm knackered, my hand is ready to blister and is pretty sore. I've got about an hour and a half drive home, which will be fun. But Sheffield is a wicked track. Anyone that's even near it or thinking about it, do it, it's brilliant. Short layout, short fast lap times, super grippy. Young lad Ethan, again, if you're watching this, great racing, mate. Please keep it up, because you're going to be pretty quick when you get older. And that's going to do it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a like, drop a comment down below. I'll always get back to you. And then also, if you think I've earned it, I feel I have, give that like button a little tickle, and I will catch you in the next one.